Kia ora tātou e hika mā, nau mai hoki mai, nau mai tauti mai. Welcome back and welcome to those of you who are new. Today we're going to take a hikoi through kai sovereignty through the eyes of our tamariki mokopuna and the collective that we are, which is Whanau. And in light of our Māori New Year, it's through the eyes or the star of Hinapuri that will take this journey of kai sovereignty. Nei rā te mihi.
Hello, miss. Auntie and them just getting us some beers finally. Let's go.
Hotu te manawa, so the heart was excited to be able to share this time here with the tuakana and the iramutu, so my elder brother and our nephew. And of course, taku tino hoa o taku hoa rangatira, huge fan of the Warriors, so great time spent together, lifetime memories made. Here in Takaruru to grab us some hot drinks. Someone was feeling rather seedy after having celebrated hard and big following the victory of the Warriors, and it was certainly a well-deserved victory. Ka tai pai mātou ki tai rua, and how grateful we are for the beautiful hospitality of our whānau in Tairua, given this beautiful location and the beautiful views. Got our little shy guy here, but he's a good sort. Keen fisherman. Are you getting any bites, hun? Not yet? Very good that you're on a rod each. Oh, the iramutu's off for a swim. Boy. Oh, and the mokopuna's off for a swim. It's moments like these where you feel heavily grateful that your tamariki look to gain some pūkenga and mātauranga, that they stand in their own sovereign really strong.
Ka pai, friends. Got it, my darling? Good boy. Is that your first kahawai? Ka pai, eh boy, you happy with your fish?
Yep.
Proud of your first kahawai catch by yourself? Ka pai, eh? It's patience. Have a cocoa, then come and fish your line. Ka pai, boy, go and show the other kids, eh? Oh, pretty excited, happy for him.
Ke te harikoa, tētahi o aku tama, ke te kumi te mātauranga pūkenga o te mahi ruku. So one of our boys decided that he wanted to learn, or I guess hone his skills on being able to participate in diving. So very fortunate he was that his papa and his iramotu, or the nephew, was able to awhi and manaki him in doing so. So I will look to cube up these kahawai fillets. I'll saute some onions and garlic along with the green curry paste. And you'll notice again here that I decided that I would be quite generous in the chunks that I cut the fillets into. Just real robust chunky pieces. Here we have the onions and garlic and some of the green curry paste sauteing away here, and then I've added the cream and I've let that simmer on really low, and then I would add the chunks of kahawai. Here we have the kahawai now added and just cooking it away slowly there. And then what I also had decided to do was add some parai by virtue of the stringent or mustard and bittery flavour that it has, considering that the curry paste can be quite sweet, and also added lemon zest for a little bit of a zing. It's just really preferential really that I add the zest of the remana or lemon juice to the curry fish here, and that's just really around the lemon's quite complementary to all kaimoana really, and it just really brings out or enhances the flavour of the kaimoana. So I just like to use it for that reason. Otiki, they're curried kahawai served on rice, but we had another treat that was in store for us, a very serendipitous treat. Our kōtiro mā, tama mā, mokopuna mā, haka the world, our future up and comings. Horo e ngā rihi, boys, ka pai, rawe.
Alright, tamariki mā. From mine to yours. So I did say in our previous video that I would make a paraoa parai, and so I'm going to make that video and take you through how to make paraoa parai. Kia ora. So I've got my ingredients here, so some plain flour, sugar and yeast, and I think important to point out, so I have a preference of using this yeast. There's many other yeasts that you can use, but I find that my paraoa goes well with this yeast. I'll even make the paraoa with the rewana bug, but that's a whole nother hikoi, or potentially using the riwai water or the potato water as well. But I'll do the yeast paraoa parai or fry bread today. So firstly, I will take 6 cups of plain flour and pop it into my bowl. I've now popped the 6 cups of flour in the bowl, and I'm just going to grab myself a tablespoon, and I'm going to place 3, actually this is a dessert spoon, 3 dessert spoons of sugar into the flour. And actually this again is about your preference and how sweet you want your bread. And just over here I have 750 mils of warm water that I'm going to place the yeast into. And I do this so that when I place the yeast in, I want the yeast to rise to the top so that it bubbles, and it tells me, or that's the cue, that it's ready to be used and mixed into the paraoa or into the flour. You can see here that I've popped the yeast in, and I'm actually going to pop a little bit of sugar in there, so I'm going to add another 3 dessert spoons of sugar into there. Sort of just helps the sugar help activate the yeast, but yeast is generally pretty stable enough by itself. So there we go, and I'll let that sit, and then we'll come back and you'll see how the yeast has then sort of frothed up and is sitting at the top of the wine. And that'll tell me cue that it's ready to be utilised. A half hour later, whanau, and this is what your yeast should begin to look like. So I'm happy with where that is at currently. That I'm going to give it a bit of a stir, and then I will add it into the flour. Just give it a bit of a stir. Make sure that all that yeast, it just helps for it to dissolve if it hasn't already. Going to add that into the flour. I'm going to make a little bit of a well here. Grab yeast, then tip that in. I'm not going to tip it all in. I'll tip some in, and then I will give that a stir. Just folding it in really, whanau. Now that's all the yeast that's been folded into the flour, and I'm just going to knead the paraoa out now. Just dusted up my bench with some flour, and then I'm going to take that dough out and then knead it through. Just going to knead the dough, whanau. If you find that the dough becomes a bit sticky, you can always dust it with more flour. You can feel the lightness and how it bounces back, then you know that your dough is a really lovely consistency. Kneading that right through, and then I'll pop it back into the bowl that I initially had the dough in. So there's our dough following being kneaded, and I'm just going to dust this bowl with a bit of flour. There is the dough once it's been kneaded through, and I'm just going to dust this bowl and place this dough back in there and let it rise some more. And then I'll knead it out once more, and then I will look to heat the oil through while that's rising back. Dusted the bowl and I've placed the dough back, and then I'll sit it in here for maybe another half hour to let it rise again. And it's actually rising already, so that's a good thing. I'll let it rise again, then I will knead the bread out once more in preparation to cook it. Right, whanau, I'm pretty happy with how the dough has risen, so I'm going to take it out of the bowl and knead it again. Knead it once more and then I'll cut it up to size for preparation to cook. Oh, yep, that's very light under the hands, so that's really telling. That's a nice dough. So once I'm happy with this, I'll actually flatten it out. It doesn't need a great deal of handling, yeast bread, because it's quite temperamental. I'm just going to flatten this out. Dust it with some flour. I've got the oil on the stove heating through in preparation because I'll start cutting this up with a size. So when you're happy with the thickness of your paraoa, then I'm going to take the trusty bread plate. Now this ain't something of my own invention, this is something that I've been privileged to observe all of my childhood with our nannies, our aunties, our cousins and sisters when they make paraoa parai at any kaupapa on the marae. That it is really handy to have a bread plate to cut your paraoa parai to size. Doesn't stick and it's consistent. So just cutting the paraoa to size. And just continue doing this until you've cut all your paraoa up. It's unfortunate I don't have Sweetie here, the great cameraman, to be able to do this, so prop the camera up in order to be able to catch this. Makes it so much easier, however, if you've got that second person to handle the camera for you. So get a fair few paraoa out of this dough. So you just continue cutting it up until you've completed all your dough. I've not gone for one consistent size with the sizings of the paraoa parai, and that just allows for me to sort of do what I want when I'm eating them. If I just want a paraoa, if I want to stuff it. So there is our paraoa all cut up and ready to go into the oil once it's at temperature. The oil is now heated through whanau. I also use this is water, warm water and a little bit of milk, and I always dip my paraoa in it before I pop it in the oil, and that just removes any of the excess flour and stops the oil from burning, and that you can utilise the oil at a later stage to make more paraoa. So this is just my test run to make sure that the oil is at the right temperature to cook the paraoa. And that oil temperature is looking good. I just don't want it to be too hot that it cooks the paraoa too fast. So I'm pretty happy with how this test paraoa is going, that I will begin cooking all of the paraoa, and there we go, beautiful golden brown. Dip that through again. And just be careful, whānau, because the paraoa does, with the oil, spits back at you. So I'm just going to continue to put paraoa in. And there you have it, whānau, the paraoa parai is cooking. This is ready to come through, and this one. And then I just pop them in a lined tub. If you've got some paper towels, works well. I don't have any paper towels, so I'm utilising a tea towel. I'll continue to cook all the paraoa whānau until it's finished. So we've got our dough down there and our warm water and with a bit of milk. And I'll cook the whole thing through. And then kua oti, we will be done. Kua oti ki te paraoa parai kumutu te tunutunu. So the paraoa parai has now been finished and all cooked. Managed to get at least 30 pieces out of that one dough, and just sort of be mindful of the fact that I've cut mine quite large, and you could cut them smaller and probably get a great deal more out of it. So I'm going to finish off having some paraoa parai with a bit of plum jam and some toroi that I made earlier in the year. Some mussel toroi. Kia ora anō e te whānau. I certainly hope that you've enjoyed, and neira te mihi kia koutou anō mō o koutou tautoko i a Māua kia Awarahi 35. Ngā tūmanako hanga kei runga i a koutou, I ringa i ngā āhuatanga o tēnei tau. So your hopes, dreams and aspirations, I certainly they come true for you in this new year. And anō, mauri ora e te whānau.